In this video, we're going to look at how we can use the Polypainting tools in order to paint some texture information onto our model. So first of all, I want to start by changing the default material here to something a little more flat. So let's go ahead and choose, let's see. Let's just try one of these. Let's keep going through till we find something. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and choose this. So if we want to polypaint onto our model, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and turn the Z add, turn this off, and we only want to turn on the RGB on the top here, so the RGB channel. Once we have done that, we can go ahead and select a material or a color, sorry. So we can go ahead and choose a color like this, and we can go ahead and we can paint this onto our model. So we can go ahead and paint this color all the way over here. And we can go around and paint the model, and we'll get, you know, something that looks like this. Now we can, if we want to, go ahead and fill this. So we could, if I were to go a little bit bright, I can go to color, choose fill objects, and this will fill everything. And so you see we have this color on here, and we can go ahead and we can choose different colors. So I can go ahead and choose, let's see, maybe this sort of pinkish red color, and we can go ahead and we can start to paint this on top here. So we can paint this in here. Now we can also go ahead and change the intensity, and this will give us a smaller intensity here. And just like how we was doing before, we can go ahead and we can press the X key and do this sort of in a symmetrical manner. Okay, so we can go ahead and add a bit of color into the lips and a little bit of color into the end of the nose, around the ears, for instance. Now, what we can also do is if we are inside this mode here, so we're selecting our colors, and if we left click and drag all the way off, then what we can do is we can sample a color. Now, this color is sampled regardless of the lighting and material information, so it's only gathering the base color. So if we go ahead and select this, then we're going to go ahead and select the same color that we painted in the first place. So we can go ahead and start to paint off some of these areas. Now, we can also do things like paint by mask. So if you remember correctly, we could go and use masking to mask off areas that we can and cannot add information to, and we can do that same thing with color. So we can go to masking, and you see at the bottom here we have a bunch of different ways in which we can mask. So for instance, let's go ahead and choose mask by cavity. Okay, so let's select this, and what this will do is select all the cavity areas. And so if we paint, so let's go ahead and start to paint, and we inverse that, and we increase the intensity, and we go ahead and let's just choose that same pink color, and we can decrease the intensity here, and then we can just start to paint this color in here. And I'm gonna go ahead and go to color, fill objects. And so it's going to add the color there, and we can just deselect that, and you can see what that does. So it just adds a little bit of variation in terms of the overall shading color here. So let's go ahead and choose, let's do by cavity again, and this time let's go ahead and choose a color that's a little bit lighter. Let's go to color, fill objects. Okay. And so this is basically what it gives us. Now we can, if we want to, go ahead and we can choose to use a alpha. So say we chose a color here, so let's just go with something a little crazy here. Let's choose this green, and we went ahead and chose an alpha. So we can go ahead and maybe use something like this. We can see that we can start to paint that color based on the alpha information. Now what you'll notice is that we don't really get much detail here, and the reason for that is that the way Polypaint works is that it is painting based on vertex color. Okay, so this probably doesn't have enough resolution for this pattern to appear or to come through. You can see that we get a little bit of noise, and so the way to fix that is to subdivide this a few more times, and as we do that you can see that those patterns are coming through a little bit more. Okay, so you can see that now we're having this sort of splattered effect. So this may be a little bit more prominent if we, let's see, show something like this. So we can see that that's going through a little bit more, and we can go ahead and choose this draw if we want to again, and draw this on. And it may help if we increase the intensity too. Okay, so just to give you an example of how this works is the higher the amount of polygons we have, the better the appearance of the polypaint will be. So if I go back up to geometry and start to decrease and lower the resolution, you can see that we start to lose the information there. Okay, so let's just go ahead, sample this, and set this back to the defaults and just paint this back in. Okay. So once we have that, the next thing we may want to look at doing is how to actually turn this into a texture that could be used in an external application. And so this is a pretty simple process. What you need to do is you need to go ahead and change or turn this into a UV object. Now, unless you have brought in your objects that is already UV mapped, then you need to go ahead and do that. So there are a few ways we can do that, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at doing that actually in the next video. I don't want this video to run too long, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.